Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to our today's workshop, Burnout. This is in collaboration with Psych There and myself, Mahi Modi. So let me first start by introducing myself. My name is Mahi Modi and I'm a counseling psychologist. I completed my master's in counseling psychology and I have also completed my post graduation diploma in yoga teaching. I am also a certified career counselor and I have almost 1.5 years of experience in this field. So today I'll be sharing certain things that I learned through my courses and my practice about burnout with you so that it add values to your experiences and we'll take it accordingly. You can always leave your comments, your questions in the chat box that I can take up for you. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes for you to settle down. I'm sure that burnout is something that almost all of us experience at some point of time, and we struggle to deal with it. So, this is just a small effort to psychoeducate all of you who are joining us today, and eventually we'll see what are some things that you take away from today's workshop. Okay, thank you all for joining us. I see that a lot of us are here and excited. Hello, everyone. So, let us begin. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Mahi Modi, and I'm a counseling psychologist. I completed my master's in counseling psychology. I have completed my post graduation diploma in yoga teaching. I'm a certified career counselor and I have 1.5 years of experience. So, we will begin our today's session shortly. Just waiting for everybody to join in. Hello and welcome once again, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll start the workshop now. So our today's topic is burnout, and this workshop is in collaboration with Psych There. Let me introduce myself, your facilitator for today. My name is Mahi Modi, and I am a counseling psychologist. I have completed my master's in counseling psychology. I also hold a diploma in yoga teaching. I'm a certified career counselor and I have 1+ years of experience in this field. I hope that there are a lot of things that you can take back from our today's workshop. So let me give you a glimpse of what we are going to discuss. We have case study. We'll try to understand what burnout is, what are the risk factors of burnout, what are the signs and symptoms of burnout, how hustle culture and burnout are related, how we can distinguish between burnout and depression. What are some things that you can do to help yourself when you are experiencing burnout? And when to visit a mental health professional if the burnout is not in your hands anymore. Okay, so let's start by discussing a case study. I hope you can see my screen. You can see that I have Rohit here, who's a 23-year-old bachelor who lives in his with his pet dog and has a corporate job. He was doing okay with his routine of normal office hours, his household chores, walking his pet, and his gym when a new project was introduced last week, for which now he had to devote 2 hours in the office and had to arrive early in the morning. Since the announcement of the project, he had been overworking in the office and carrying work to home. This has impacted his sleep, his eating habits. He does not have the time and energy to go to the gym. This continued for weeks, and now he started feeling exhausted and irritated. After a couple of weeks, he started having small outbursts at work, and he did not know why that was happening to him. This was all new for him, and he started to feel overwhelmed. So, this is something that Rohit is experiencing. Do anybody of you here resonate with this story? Do you feel that this is something that's happening to you right now? You can put it in the chat box. If you have seen anybody around you who has been experiencing something like this, what do you think this is? What are they going through? Is this how everybody is supposed to feel on a day-to-day basis? No, right? This is not how a 23-year-old corporate doing a corporate job has to feel. We have seen the distinguish between his previous routine and his current routine. He used to have a lot of time for himself. He used to walk his pet. He enjoyed going to the gym. He used to do all his household chores on time. But since this new project, he hasn't been able to sleep properly, eat properly, he's skipping gym, and this is not healthy for him, right? Because he's also started having a small outburst at work. I mean, do you expect somebody to shout at you when you're working in a place? No, right? So let me tell you what Rohit is experiencing. He is experiencing burnout. Now, what is burnout? How is it different from stress? We all are pretty familiar with stress and how stress can manifest. But burnout is a prolonged stress that one experiences. It affects one's physical health and as well as it impairs the psychological functioning of the individual. We know that stress has its own toll on all of us. It does different things for us, but burnout is much bigger than that. Sometimes taking that little bit of stress, if you know what huge stress is, taking that little bit of stress helps you, motivates you to do something. That's good. But we know that distress is bad. Similarly, burnout is even worse for an individual because eventually it can become something else. People experience extreme exhaustion and attitudinal problems, just like Rohit did with his little outburst. So, this is how we have to treat burnout and be on the lookout that if you are experiencing huge stress, distress, or burnout. So now let's understand what are these risk factors that are involved when it comes to burnout. So some of the very common issues or common causes of burnout is perfectionism. Like somebody is always wanting to be perfect when it comes to their task or work. They always want to do everything in a particular manner and they want the outcome to be in a particular manner. Then there is unreasonable time pressures. So the deadline that you might have set for yourself or the company or the other person might have set for you is pretty unrealistic. And you know that you can't achieve the goal in that amount of time or that given time. So you have that added pressure on you that I have to probably compromise on other day-to-day needs in order to meet this particular goal. So that's what unreasonable time pressures are. Then unrealistic expectations. Again, you know that you have a certain capacity, you know your capabilities, but you still take up something that you can't cater to in that moment. And you set unrealistic expectations for yourself. And when these unrealistic expectations come into your life, it adds on, it feels like a burden for you. So, again, that could eventually lead to burnout. Then we also see work life imbalance. So, now work life imbalance, let me tell you what work life balance is when you are able to take care of your personal life and your professional life in a balanced manner. You have the time, you have the bandwidth to give time to both these areas of your life. But when you think that you are focusing more on your work and your personal life is impacted because of it, maybe your family members have started complaining that you don't spend as much time with them, or you know that you haven't been taking care of your own self, you haven't done any kind of self care in a long time. So these are the signs when you know that you have a work-life imbalance. And then there is a lot of workload that you're experiencing. Again, you have taken up a lot on your plate, and you know that this is not something that you can do right now, and it's an overload for you. So these are some risk factors, some things that you can always be on the lookout for and understand whether you are experiencing good stress or it's more leading towards burnout for you. Now, how you can distinguish it better is that there are three identifiable symptoms of burnout. These are the top three that you can keep in mind. It should be at your fingertips so that it's easy for you to know where you are going wrong. That is exhaustion, cynicism, and inefficacy. So when it comes to exhaustion, What does exhaustion mean? It can mean that it can look like I have too much of work. Like there are times when you know that, okay, there are some things on my plate, I can casually do it. You don't stress about it. But when it comes to exhaustion, you know that there is a lot of things. Or even if you don't have a lot of things, you just have a couple of things which you were able to practice before, but now you can't. Just those couple of things also feel like too much of a pressure for you, and you feel exhausted completely, physically and mentally drained out. Then comes cynicism. What does that mean? It looks like my boss doesn't appreciate my work. So, whatever you do, you are very cynical about it. You only focus on the negatives of it. You don't, you're not able to look at anything positive, and any small feedback can get you going. You feel that everybody is doing better than you, and you are worthless. You can't do anything. And you just start disrespecting yourself, start undermining your capabilities. And you also tend to put it in your head in a way that others also feel that you are worthless, that you can't do anything, you're not capable of doing anything. And then comes inefficacy. I'm not good enough at my work. When you feel the exhaustion, that leads to cynicism, and then that leads to self-doubt in a way. You start doubting yourself, you start looking at things like uh, you don't have the capability to do it. You keep on having these negative self talks with yourself and tell yourself that no, I'm not good at my work, I can't do this, I'm just useless. These are the kind of self-talk that you start doing when you start thinking about your work, anything, your personal work, your professional work. So these are three most distinguished signs of identifying whether you are leaning towards burnout or you are experiencing burnout. Then there are a couple of more signs, like you start dreading work. Like whenever you hear your name or whenever something comes up, you're like, oh God, no, not again. I can't do this anymore. I just want to leave, and you just start dreading anything that might come your way. You will have trouble sleeping sometimes at night or most of the nights. You can't fall asleep because your mind is occupied with something else and you just can't get over it. You want things to end for you, but you can't fall asleep because it's just in the back of your mind and you are thinking about it repetitively and it's keeping you awake. Even if you manage to get a few hours of sleep, you don't feel well rested when you wake up in the morning and you feel like you're not ready for the day. But you have to get out of the bed because you have a job, you have to show up, or you have a family, and you have to meet the financial needs of the family, so you can't skip the job. So you end up overexhausting your body and pushing it further and further. You have this feeling of drowning or sinking. Like I'm not sure how many of you have actually been in a water body and experienced that feeling, but this is also pretty real when you are burdened with a lot of work, when you are when you don't understand what's happening around you and you feel overwhelmed and just ready to give up on everything. You have this sinking feeling suddenly that you're falling into this pit, or you are falling down a cliff, or you are just drowning in the water, and you're trying to reach out for help, but there is nobody to help you. This is the kind of sinking feeling that you might experience. And then comes short temper. So you'll start getting angry at anything and everything that comes your way. You're like, "Ugh, what is this? Why is this happening?" You'll have you start having these small outbursts, and you'll start blaming other people for things that you are not able to do. You will try every take on every single opportunity to scream at anybody, because that's one of the ways that you are letting out your frustration, your anger of burnout. But again, that's not healthy. It's not healthy for you as an individual, and it's also not healthy for your relationship with that other person, because it might you might end up making them feel like they don't mean anything to you. That's how it can blow out of proportion for you and become a huge thing. Sometimes that communication is really important in when you're experiencing burnout. If you have identified you're experiencing burnout, be vocal about it, at least to the people around you whom you interact with on a day-to-day basis, so that they are aware and they are prepared that you are experiencing something, and because of your experiences you are behaving in this way. Again, it's not an excuse to behave in this way, but in case you are looking for support from your loved ones while you're working on it, actively working on reducing your burnout, be vocal about it, be open about it, and talk about it to your loved ones. Then, coming to the hustle culture, we know that we have normalized hustle culture, and that it's okay to have more than one job, because you are in your 20s and this is the time to build your career, and this is the time when things will happen for you and you have to work towards that financial goal and financial stability for your future. So you end up doing everything that you see around you. And since the pandemic, since things have, most of the things have started becoming work from home, we feel like we have a lot of time in our hand. We have a lot of spare time. So if it was traveling to work, then we could only do one job because we had to travel there and we have to spend that many hours of time in the office and then travel back, and that is physically exhausting. But now that you're working from home, you know that you can just log in and zone out or do something else, and you don't have to devote all your time and attention to just that one work that you're supposed to do. You can have multiple jobs, and that's how you can multiply or increase your income. This is what the thought process is behind working more than one job, which is also called as a hustle culture. And according to the recent study by Deloitte, we understand that 77% of people have experienced burnout at their job. And out of that, it's even sad that 42% have left their jobs because they felt burned out. Now, this ratio is very, very big, right? This percentage is very big, and it's very alarming that 42% out of 77% people felt that they are burnt out. Now, we as humans, we through our trainings throughout our lives, we know that after a point of time we are ready to take up a job. But if somebody is not even able to do or solve that evolutionary evolutionary thing that they are supposed to, then then what is that they have to do in life, right? There is a job that we need to take up when we are adults and to survive in this world, to meet our basic needs, if not any other need, but just basic needs. But if you feel burnt out, then that is alarming, right? You need to understand that there is some sort of intervention that is needed, and you need to take a step back and analyze your situation, your circumstances, and understand that what is something that you're doing is not helping you right now, and what is something that you can do that will help you grow instead of leading to burnout. Because if you feel burnt out, you will not grow, you will not be able to make any progress, you'll not be able to do anything at all, and which will just take you 10 steps back instead of helping you move one step at a time. So why not we just move one step at a time instead of taking that plunge and trying to jump to the fifth step directly, which causes burnout eventually. It says that this is the result of mental and emotional stress due to working long hours and trying to keep up with unrealistic expectations set by the toxic excesses of hustle culture. Again, setting unrealistic expectations, not listening to your body, and working for long hours. There's a reason why we decided that maybe a 9 to 5 job is okay. That many hours of work an individual is able to take. At least that many hours. It could be more. It could be less also, but at least that's the amount of work that an individual can do in a day. But now, if we become a little unrealistic and we know that, okay, my work is done by 5, I have the rest of the evening, I have the night time also, so maybe I could take up something more. And you end up taking something more and working long hours, maybe at the same job or at a different job. And then you push yourself to do everything at one point of time, which could be toxic and a part of hustle culture, because hustle culture will eventually lead to burnout. Now, how can you identify burnout in employees? Because we've been talking a lot about corporates and MNCs. So, how to be more mindful and understand whether you yourself or somebody around you is experiencing burnout at the workplace. First thing, that their productivity and their quality of work decreases. The way they used to produce something, the content that used to, or the deliverable that used to come from them, had so much of value. But now you don't see as much of quality in their work anymore, because probably they're just trying to complete their work and submit it by the deadline, just meeting the deadline, and just doing some average work and sharing it, so that at least they are not kicked out of their job, or they don't have to answer people why they could not complete their job on time. Second, that they start disengaging and withdrawing themselves from social scenarios. So They'll start skipping meetings, and they'll not want to attend any kind of social functions that happen in the office. They don't like to socialize around, be with other people, and they ignore other people, and they just try to have conversations on emails or text messages so that they don't have to confront anybody. They don't actually have to have conversations. So they start avoiding people. That's how you know that, okay, this person might be, or you also, if you're experiencing it, you are leaning towards burnout. Then self doubt and complaining. You start doubting yourself. You start complaining that you have a lot of work. Maybe you don't have as much on your plate, but even the smallest of the tasks seems very big. You start doubting your capabilities and putting yourself down in front of yourself and others that you are not built to do something, that you need time, and this is not your skill set or area of expertise, and you just try to avoid things. Then comes hostility and inflexibility. You feel that you don't have authority anymore over you. You don't feel in charge. You feel like other people have to make decisions for you, and you also end up being very rigid about everything. You you don't want to talk to a colleague who is probably giving you a good feedback that would actually help you grow, but you shut yourself down and you're like, "Ah, I know the best. I can't deal with anything apart from this, so I don't want your opinions here. I can just do whatever I know." You become inflexible and hostile in that way. Then, when it comes to exhaustion and drained out, I think we have already discussed that, how somebody can feel exhausted completely physically and emotionally, and there is no capacity to take in anything, even not even 1% of capacity is left in the body, in the mind, to take anything. Then comes the sixth one, frequent absenteeism and sick leaves. So you start using a lot of your sick leaves and being AOI from the meetings, or start making excuses of not going to work, and you just don't show up for anything at all. You start isolating yourself and removing yourself from social scenarios. And then last one, elevated stress and fuzzy memory. You always feel on the go, that your mind is constantly running, and thinking about something. There's a lot of stress that you experience, and you can't remember anything properly. Like because you'll half-heartedly listen to things, you don't remember every detail of it. You'll start to ask questions, more questions, but when you're asking questions, you'll also feel guilty. You'll also not want to ask questions, but you also can't remember what the complete task was. And there continuously you'll feel that back and forth. And then more than that, we often understand that burnout and depression is the same. We don't know the fine line between the both of it. We don't understand these are two different, completely different things that an individual can experience. Like, yes, they can have overlapping symptoms, but they are not the same. Like in when it comes to loss of interest or low mood or difficulty in concentrating, there's a lot of major differences. With burnout, we know that there are identifiable cause to reference why and where symptoms are coming from. We know that why we are experiencing burnout, maybe because you haven't taken a break in a long time, or you haven't slept properly in a long time, you had a lot of projects on your plate. So you can identify why you are experiencing this, where it originated from. But when it comes to depression, it may come without any warning signs. You might know that, okay, this significant thing happened in my life, so probably that's why I'm experiencing depression. But sometimes you don't even have warning signs, and it can be strictly due to a chemical imbalance inside your brain. So that could also lead to depression, and you actually don't know where it originated from. So both of these are unique experiences that an individual goes through. Depression, sometimes, when it's severe clinical depression, it might require medications and long-term professional treatment. Whereas if it's just burnout, you don't require medicines, and just a short-term professional support from a psychologist is enough to deal with burnout. So, burnout can be a small part of depression. Only burnout cannot cause depression, but when it comes to burnout, it could lead to depression, but burnout does not mean that you are also depressed, if that is making sense. If you want me to repeat that, you can put that in the chat box. You know, burnout can be a part of depression, whereas burnout can lead to depression if it's untreated for a long time. So now, how can you prevent burnout at a workplace? So Indeed is a job searching platform who conducted a survey where they understood that 52% of their respondents said that they feel burnt out, and 67% of the respondents believe burnout has worsened throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, as we discussed earlier. That, working from home, we understand that we can take up more than one thing on our plate and we can multitask. Again, multitasking is a myth. It can only lead to more emotional challenges, specifically burnout. And we have already seen Deloitte's survey reports, we are seeing Indeed survey reports now, and how the people who experience burnout is just increasing day by day because of the various reasons and the lifestyle that we are living right now. It's a fast-paced world, and we always think that we have to be one step ahead. We have to do something about it, and we just keep on adding things to our plate. But luckily, there are some things that you can do to avoid experiencing burnout, like rebalance home and work schedules. Make proper boundaries between your personal and professional life, and understand that till what extent do you have to work. And once you're done with work, you have to spend that personal time with yourself, with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, anybody. But you should not avoid spending that personal time, even if there is no, that if you, even if you don't have any plans with anybody, you can always pre-plan. But if in case your plans don't work out, don't think that you have to still work. You know that okay, today I could not meet my friends, so probably I'll just complete that pending work today, and tomorrow I'll not have to do that work. So tomorrow my friend might be available to meet up. So that's why you end up doing that today instead of it's scheduled for tomorrow. No, try avoid doing that as much as you can, because again you have wired your brain and given it the instruction that today is the time when I'm going to take care of my body and I'm going to spend my personal time. So now that just causes imbalance to your own thoughts and you start contradicting. That's how also thought processes work. So you have to give proper instructions to your brain about your activities. Then next is pursue new challenges. Again, these challenges are not just limited to work. There are a lot of other challenges that you can pursue in life, something that you always wanted to learn, but you know that it requires a lot of time and attention, or maybe it requires strength. So, you eventually work through it. You eventually make time for it, take that baby step. Maybe it should take a week's time for you to achieve it, but because of the bandwidth that you have, you can achieve it in 2 to 3 weeks. That's also okay. But keep pursuing new challenges so that you um, keep your body in that activated zone and you don't let the monotony get to you. Then the third is take breaks from work. Again, very, very important. Don't try to push everything in one schedule. That okay, today I'll just work 10 hours straight and get done with everything, and tomorrow I'll just chill for the entire day. No, again, today maybe you can complete that work by pushing yourself for straight 10 hours, but tomorrow you'll feel even more exhausted and tired. So obviously you don't want that. You want energy for tomorrow to go out with your friends probably, or do something that you love. But what you'll end up doing is you'll end up recovering from the extra energy that you utilized yesterday and trying to get back that energy. So taking necessary breaks between your work is also very, very important. Then connect with others. We are, again, by evolutionary basis, we are social animals. We want that support from other people in our lives. Even if you are an introvert, you know you have certain people who you can talk to, who you enjoy spending time with. So even if you are an introvert, ambivert, extrovert, that connection is always needed by a human body. So try to have those connections instead of avoiding. Uh, Maybe you are pretty exhausted over the weekdays and you end up canceling your weekend plan with your friend that oh I just need to recover from the week and prepare myself for the week ahead. But no, connect with them, maybe just for a couple of hours, 1 hour, half an hour, but do that. Then pursue fulfilling activities outside of work. Again, don't limit yourself with just work. There are so many other things. Keep on exploring new passions, new hobbies. Maybe you enjoy something, but don't limit yourself to that much, that area, that activity. Understand that there are so many other things that you can still do, which will just enhance your capability. It will just help your growth. So pursue fulfilling activities that is relaxing, not related to work. Activities like going dancing, taking a dance lesson also, maybe, you know, where you're not preparing yourself for any competition, but just learning a new dance style, or listening to music, or painting, or playing your favorite sport, or learning that new instrument. Anything that makes you feel that your heart is full after doing that. Then, lastly, we have spoken so much about what is stress, burnout, depression, how they are different, what are some things that you can really do in order to avoid experiencing all of this. But if you still end up experiencing it and you don't know how to go about it, that's when you reach out to a professional, a psychologist, preferably a counseling psychologist, because they'll be the most equipped. But you can also reach out to a clinical psychologist who is equally equipped to understand your challenges. But yeah, there's no need to reach out to a psychiatrist in this case. If you're experiencing burnout and you want to change your lifestyle, also always see how these things are impacting the other areas of your life. The other areas being your relationship with others, your sleep pattern, your health, your appetite, anything else, your personal life, your professional life, your interests, anything that's being impacted again, and you're not able to work through it, then you need to reach out for professional support. So I'll end our workshop with this thought and leave you guys with this. Listen to your body and be kind to its need, because your body is going to be there for you always. So listen what it has to say, what meet the demands that your body makes. If your body needs 10 hours of sleep, give your body that 10 hours of sleep, instead of thinking that, oh, my body might just need 7 2 hours. It's over expecting, and I can use that 2 3 hours to work and earn some extra bucks. Trust me, you can earn those extra bucks right now, but later on, it will do more harm than good if it's prolonged. That's why listen to your body always. Thank you, everyone. That's it for today's workshop. Now we are open to your doubts, your question and answer. Feel free to ask them in the chat below, and I'll answer them all for you. You can also share your feedback about this webinar here, or something that you would like to know more through our webinars. So that's my email ID, that's my Instagram handle. If you guys want to, be there, you can also follow Psych There on Instagram. All of us share content related to mental health that might be of use to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here for some more time in case you have any doubts that you need me to clarify. Okay, so Chisha has asked how to deal with sensory overload caused by burnout. So that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. Sensory, overload simply means that you experience extreme irritability, you feel restless, you feel the discomfort in your body, you have the urge to just not listen to anything, You just want everybody to shut up. That's how you feel when you experience a sensory overload. And yes, burnout has the capability to make you feel in that way. So, how you can deal with that is simply taking yourself away from that situation, and when you are away from that, when you have moved yourself from that situation, you spend some time with yourself doing some sort of silent meditation. Yes, again, meditation does not just mean that you have to sit in a proper asana and close your eyes and just not let any thought bother you and everything. No, that is not all about meditation. Meditation is so much more than that. Meditation can just mean that you are silently sitting with yourself. That's also meditation. Or you are just listening to some pleasant music or pleasant noises like birds chirping or water flowing. That can also be meditative. So you can just listen to that and calm down the sensory overload that you are experiencing. This will help you come back to the present. And once you are back to the present, you might be in a better space to listen to somebody else. And that's how you can, at times, when you're experiencing burnout, you can overcome your sensory overload. I hope that answers your question, Trisha. Drop in your doubts, your questions, your feedback in the chat. We'll be here for the next 5 more minutes. So, no questions means that the workshop was very clear and all of you feel equipped to handle any burnout in the future. If you or if you're experiencing any burnout right now, you know how to deal with it. Do you feel that you have everything that you need right now that will help you overcome burnout? Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody, who joined us. And you can go back to this live anytime you want because it's going to be saved on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for joining and being here. Hope you have a good evening ahead.